On today's episode, we'll meet a personal injury attorney with expert advice. We visit a community organization that's changing lives for those living with HIV, sporting adventures for veterans, the latest in floral design, and the dairy industry. Plus, lots more. Today on The Balancing Act.
Stressful situations can be made worse if the legal advice isn't up to par. That's why it's crucial to find the best.
Personal injury law covers a wide range of issues: car accidents, slip and falls, and even wrongful death. Here's what you need to know when you don't know where to turn.
Some of the areas that we focus on in injury law are anything that's related to a motor vehicle accident. You can be a pedestrian, you can be a driver of a motorcycle, or you can be involved in a trucking accident, slip and falls, or even, unfortunately, a wrongful death. I have a background in education. I was in education about 10 years. I have a strong passion for my community, helping others and giving back. That's one of the reasons that I became a lawyer. I wanted to make sure that I was giving back and that I was educating others. It's been my lifelong dream.
Markeishia guides people on what is often a painful journey, and it's what drives her.
We take car accidents on a contingent fee basis. What that means is we do not get paid unless you get paid. And that is an absolutely true statement. If you recover nothing, you don't owe us anything at all. If we are fortunate enough to get a recovery for you, then our recovery is 33 1/3 of that recovery. Basically what that means in very simple terms is if you win $1, we get 33 cents. At our firm, we have a hands-on and personal touch with each one of our clients. 90% of the clients get me when they call. I usually start out by talking to them, explaining the entire process so that they can get it in a way that makes them feel a little bit more easy and comfortable about it. I have a team. I have 2 dedicated case managers. I have an office manager and a wonderful legal assistant that all make sure that we're there for our clients. Our intake process is a really good time for us to not only get to know our clients and build a rapport, but it allows us to kind of assess how their claim is going to be. A crucial part of being injured in an accident is actually seeking treatment and following through with that treatment. In Florida, you're generally going to receive those services from a chiropractor. Each person's amount of time that they spend with a chiropractor is going to depend on the extent of their injuries, and it's going to be personal to them. The chiropractor is very important because they're going to be establishing that you are in fact permanently injured. So the best advice will be to make sure that you treat, to make sure that you're speaking with the chiropractor about specifically what you're experiencing, because we'll take that information by which to negotiate a settlement based on your specific injuries.
She can help folks navigate the complex world of insurance.
One myth that I want to make sure I address is this full coverage. The idea of full coverage is a good one, but it really does not exist. Full coverage is not something that you go to your insurance company and say, give me full coverage. Insurance is bought in pieces, and the most important piece that you need to remember to ask your insurance agent about is uninsured motorists, to make sure that you are covered in the event that someone hits you and they don't have insurance. In Florida, you're generally required to speak with your own insurance company and give them a recorded statement. You can have your attorney present on the line while you're giving that recorded statement. Further, in Florida, you are not required to speak with the at-fault party's insurance company at all, and we never allow those statements. If I were to give an example and tell you that if you're injured and you're treating and your medical bills run up to $20,000, remember we have something in Florida called PIP, or personal injury protection. Your personal injury protection would pay at least $10,000 of those medical bills, which would leave you with a balance of $10,000. Now, many people would wonder, well, where's that $10,000 going to come from? Well, that is going to generally come out of your settlement that we negotiate for you with the other party's insurance company. So I would advise that anybody that's hurt or injured in an auto accident seek some type of legal advice before speaking with an insurance company.
And while there are no guarantees, they'll work hard to get you the best possible result.
Whenever a person is injured in an accident, they are going to go through so many ups and downs. They're going to have good days and they're going to have bad days. I make sure that myself and my team is available for us to be able to see each client through every day, not just the good days at the end when they get a nice settlement that they deserve, but also on the bad days.
For more information about Markeishia Smith Law, visit thesmithlawfirm.org or go to our website, thebalancingact.com.
Take a look at what's coming up next.
The health and well-being of those affected by HIV, hepatitis C, and other sexually transmitted diseases is of utmost importance. But sometimes those who need care the most are afraid to seek it. Luckily, there's help.
CAN Community Health is an organization that was started in 1991 in Sarasota, Florida by our founder, Susan Terry. It was really based around the AIDS epidemic in the 80s, and she founded the organization to help those that she loved and those in the community. And we have continued that mission throughout now to present day. Stigma is one of those things in society nowadays where people fear to receive treatment out of fear of being judged, of being diagnosed by being HIV positive, or even just seeking treatment to prevent HIV or STDs. So one of the things that we work for here at CAN Community Health is to be able to break that stigma and break the barriers to care and have individuals receive that treatment. One of the ways we provide our services is through our mobile medical units and our mobile testing units. Those units are actually able to go into rural areas where individuals that are wanting care but are not able to actually physically come into our locations.
Times have changed since HIV/AIDS was first discovered decades ago.
With today's technology, with today's medicine and the quality of care that we provide, HIV is now controllable and patients are able to live a normal and healthy life. Our staff are credentialed in not only prevention efforts, outreach, medical support, people living with HIV that are there to help navigate a newly diagnosed HIV individual. And with the credentials that we have through HIV-specific certifications, through infectious disease doctors, primary care doctors, internal medicine doctors, and a full gamut of services and support staff, an individual can come and get their care here at CAN, from their medical care to their pharmacy services, dental, behavioral health, substance abuse, all the full gamut of services that an individual may need if they're living with HIV. No matter if they're heterosexual, homosexual, LGBT community, African American, Hispanic, Caucasian, at the end of the day, HIV does not discriminate. We want to make sure that we have access, that we provide access to care for individuals regardless of ability to pay. That is extremely important because we want to make sure that individuals are getting the care and services they need without having to worry about their copay or how are they going to pay for some type of care that we can provide.
Thomas should know he's a medical peer navigator living with HIV.
So my journey began 28 years ago, and I struggled in the beginning, but then I went into doing missions work overseas until I met a medical peer navigator at CAN, and my life's never been the same again. Medical peers are people living with HIV/AIDS who are trying to help others live adherent and productive lives. Our guiding principles here at CAN are really simple. We wanted people to remember them easily. It's CARES, which is communicate. We want to advocate, do plenty of research, execute the plan, and then have it be sustainable. It's the way that we guide everything we do as an organization and personally.
Prevention, testing, peer talk, medical care. This is where they all come together.
HIV and AIDS are not the same thing. It's a common misconception. AIDS is the acquired immune deficiency, which is a manifestation of having the HIV virus. And that is when your immune system is sufficiently affected to put you at risk of different types of infections. We have two therapies to prevent infection with HIV. One is called NPEP, pre-exposure prophylaxis, where you take a medication every day to prevent infection with HIV. That is recommended for patients that lead a high-risk lifestyle of HIV infection. We have NPEP, which is post-exposure prophylaxis, therapy to prevent HIV infection if you have an occupational exposure, such as a needle stick or a high-risk sexual encounter. You need to get to the doctor early, before 72 hours, and we start you on therapy.
Together as a society and as a community, we're able to make a difference, to come together, to break the stigma and break the barriers to care, to give healthcare to those that need it most.
You can lead a normal life if you are tested and treated early.
We're not only here for you, we're here for those you may love as well.
On a final note, education is prevention and prevention is power. It is our goal to make sure that we educate individuals so that way we can prevent further infection spread.
For more information about CAN Community Health, visit cancommunityhealth.org or just go to our website, thebalancingact.com.
The Wounded Warriors in Action Foundation is helping to heal combat wounded Purple Heart recipients through the power of the great outdoors. Let's find out how.
Hi, I'm John McDaniel. I'm the founder and CEO of the Wounded Warriors in Action Foundation. We provide world-class outdoor sporting activities for our nation's combat wounded veterans, Purple Heart recipients specifically.
Meet John Keeney, a Purple Heart recipient who enjoyed his experience so much, he decided to become a volunteer.
A friend of mine that was in my platoon in the Marine Corps went on a gator hunt with Wounded Warriors in Action, and he told our logistics coordinator about me having a Purple Heart, and she started calling and asking me if I wanted to go on a hunt and or a fishing trip. And I actually told her no for about a year, and then finally she talked me into it, and really glad I did. My favorite moments come from getting to see these heroes do something that they didn't think they could anymore after their injury.
So in other words, if you have a mobility issue, then we try to make sure that that individual is participating in an activity that is appropriate given his or her challenges, but also their preferences regarding what they like to do. So we ask them to rank file, if you will, the types of things they enjoy doing in the outdoor sporting area, whether it be hunting dangerous game animals as an example, is our number one, that's the number one choice that the heroes have, alligators, bears, I mean, things like this. So, and some of them might just want to go fishing in fresh or salt water.
We were up in Kodiak Island salmon fishing, and a buddy of mine that was on the event with us, he turns around, he looks past my shoulder, and he's like, "Hey, dude, turn around." And I turn around real slow, and there's a big, huge Kodiak brown bear standing, 20 yards behind me looking at us. And that was kind of hairy.
Their initiatives and adventures offer a proven healing formula to this unique portion of the veteran population.
These experiences help me just from getting to be around some people that have been through the same thing I've been through. Sitting around a campfire is one of my favorite places in the world, and getting to sit around the campfire with some guys that have bled in the same boots per se as you have is outstanding. And it's just, you learn so much.
So once upon a time, it was me leading all of these heroes in the field. And what I realized pretty rapidly is that this is first off, it's not about me, it's about them. So if I could train these amazing Americans to do what I did, lead these activities in the field, the world would be a much better place, and I think their lives and our hosts' lives would be much more enriched. And now these amazing Americans are leading their peers afield, but they're certified guides through, I think, what is the finest guide school in America. The hosts are pretty much the center of gravity for what we do. Once upon a time, the original idea of this mission set was to bring these heroes to my property in northern Wisconsin called Camp Hackett. And then people all across the country started to reach out to me and say, I want to help. And so it was very easy math, if you will, for me to pivot the business model, to shift it a little bit so that we could begin to serve more heroes.
The aha moment for me was watching this organization in just a weekend being able to change a life just by hunting or fishing.
And all of this at no cost. You just can't put a price on the value of camaraderie.
So the organization puts you back in a spot where that camaraderie exists and it's needed. And that right there is healing in itself.
John Keeney and I went out on Tampa Bay and we fished. John comes from Georgia, and he never has had the opportunity to fish for snook, reds, or sea trout. And so he had never caught any of those. And he said to me, I would just like to catch a snook. And I said, well, the Grand Slam is the big three, and I'll bet we'll get 2 out of the 3. And sure enough, we did.
The value of lifelong friendships is immeasurable. Just the aspect of going fishing with John McDaniels, a retired colonel, is something awesome, and founder of our organization. Who would have thought I'd ever get to do that? I mean, the guy's incredible and somebody I look up to more than anyone in this world. So it's an awesome experience.
And it doesn't just change the lives of our nation's combat wounded, it also helps those within our society that have been looking for a way to reach out and make a difference in somebody's life.
For more information about the Wounded Warriors in Action Foundation, visit WWIAF.org or just go to our website, thebalancingact.com.
Did you know the flowers need us just as much as we need them? Who knew? Take a look.
I believe flowers need us as much as we need them because it's all energy. Your energy, I'm energy. This flower comes from a seed. We get to get our hands dirty, we get to work a little bit. Let's take this bouquet, for instance. So if you just pick this up at the grocery, it really doesn't look like this, right? So it usually comes in its little flower packet, in its little plastic wrapper. So we take them apart and we say what we want. We project to them what we want them to say to the world. So this would have my energy written all over it. There are plenty of studies that are out there about flowers in hospitals that when flowers are in a room, they change the whole energy. The mood is better, so all of a sudden my blood pressure is better, all of a sudden I may not need those medicines, and the fact of the energy of the person who sent those to me. It makes a difference, it matters.
Alice should know she's the owner of FlowerGeneral.com by Carlstedt, a leading distributor of fresh cut flowers and floral accessories throughout the Southeast. Her company collaborates with floral providers, vendors, and customers all over the world.
I want to talk to you today about putting flowers together for yourself. I love to play flower shop. Everybody has curly willow in their yard, or your aunt or your neighbor does. And you just put it inside, and now you've got some really curious stuff going on in the vase. I take hydrangea, I cut this. We're gonna cut it a little bit slanted because we don't want it to touch the bottom and we don't want foliage in the container. So I'm gonna take my flowers and then I'm gonna create something really special. And I had a beautiful little rose, look at this. We're gonna make him our focal point. We just wanna put them in there and just let them speak to you. Let the flowers do the talking.
Alice has more flower tips you're going to love.
So we're gonna start with our heliconia. That's gonna be our focal point. So we're gonna just set him in here, let him just kind of fall like he wants to, and then we're gonna build an arrangement. Now remember when we said we really want some curious things in our arrangement? That's what's gonna make it unique. So we've got some great tropical foliage and we got some great things going on, and it just makes it fun. So let's just drop them in like we want to. Now, I can use this for a baby shower. I can use this for a party. I can use this for my friends on Friday night, watching Netflix, whatever you're gonna do. You have an arrangement and it's yours. You own this arrangement. So put your name on it and enjoy.
And with Carlstedt's Floral Concierge Service, there is always a reason to celebrate.
So I just wanted to show you one other thing. We love birds of paradise, right? One little neat trick that we have is you see how they're open and they're beautiful. I want to show you, sometimes they just kind of stay. And I wanted to show you with the heat of your hand, you can open this up and let it show, right? Look at this, look at this. It's called birthing the bird, right? And so now they're all open and waving. Remember, flowers need us as much as we need them.
So now I finally know how to put a proper bouquet together. And for more information about Carlstedt's, go to FlowerGeneral.com or check out our website, thebalancingact.com. So Montel, did you know that Florida dairy farmers work year-round to provide fresh and locally sustainable milk to residents statewide? It's true.
Wow, well, farmers are great stewards of the environment, and around 95% of all dairy farms are family-owned and family-operated.
I love this. So welcome to the Milking Our Dairy Farm. Salud.
Salud.
Values, commitment, dedication, leadership. These are just a few of the virtues that help shape Florida's dairy industry.
Our cows don't work for us. We work for our cows. I mean, we have cows, if they need something done on a Sunday morning at 10:30 or Saturday night at 2:30, you know, we make that happen. It's a generational business that luckily our kids want to be involved and pursue it.
We're very fortunate to have raised our family on the farm. And it's just a lifestyle that we just really, truly enjoy, and hope one day we will have grandchildren that will grow up on the farm just like our children did.
There are over 120,000 dairy cows in the state of Florida alone. Together, they produce about 300 million gallons of nutritious milk each year.
Today, since 2007, it's documented that we use 30% less land, 21% less water to produce. We're actually producing more milk per cow. And I do a little illustration. When we have a tour on the farm, my grandfather, he sold milk in 10-gallon cans. And at that time, in 1944, it took 5 cows to fill a 10-gallon can. Today, in 2020, on our farm this past week, it took 1 cow to fill that can.
This marsh on the Rux family farm is a great example of how water can be captured and reused to conserve natural resources.
In 2005, I believe, we gave up 100 acres of land that we actually had cattle on this farm. And we created our own little, if you want to per se, wetland or filter marsh. So, you know, in the dry season, we can use that water for irrigation. And in the wet season, when it's raining a lot, we're pumping that water in. So we're not using any water out of the aquifer. And the win-win is, in my eyes, we've created a phenomenal area for all types of wildlife. I mean, multiple alligators, all types of birds.
And with some help from technology, Florida dairy farmers today are combining new ideas with generations of commitment so that families throughout the Sunshine State can have nutritious, delicious milk. How the cattle are fed is a great example of this.
You can see they're all pretty happy, so sweet babies. And what's really neat about this system is how fast the calves catch on to it. For the first 10 days of life, we actually house them individually in like what would be about like a crib or a pack and play. So that way we can really kind of monitor and watch them really closely, because as we know with newborns, there are a lot of things just to monitor and really make sure of. And on that 10th day, we introduce them to the calf feeder. And within 24 hours, these calves are so smart, they know how to use the system.
That's the part of the technology that I really enjoy seeing, is that these calves, we feel like on our farm, thrive more, because if they don't want to eat at 4 o'clock in the afternoon when it's 100 and whatever degrees outside, then at 10 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning, they can get up and they can eat, and it's available for them.
Like most farms all over the country, we have a nutritionist on staff. Our nutritionist is actually our veterinarian, so he visits the farm on a weekly basis. Cows are the greatest recyclers our dairy cows or ruminants in general are great recyclers, because we feed oranges. We feed the outside rind of the orange, which if it wasn't for a dairy cow, they would end up in a landfill.
And as you can see, they're doing just fine. So they've got all their friends. And cows are herd animals. And a herd animal means that they enjoy, stop it, they enjoy being with other cows.
Every day we're making sure that things are working the way they should to ensure this world that what we're doing on this farm is sustainable for many, many years to come.
And that's what the consumers of Florida need to understand is the milk produced that they buy in the store is produced by families just like ours. You know, it doesn't matter if it's in Okeechobee or Mayo or Jacksonville, all the way out to Tallahassee. It's produced on folks that care for their animals and care for their land in the great state of Florida.
They really thrive and do really well. Yes, don't you?
Oh my gosh, working on that farm looks like fun.
Okay, so the next time we go out there to do a story, you want to go milk a cow with me?
It's not on my bucket list, but you know, you can. I'll watch you.
Okay, you can watch me. For more information about Florida dairy farmers, go to floridamilk.com.
Or you can always go up on our website, thebouncingAct.com.
All right, let's drink our milk for the morning.
Oh, there you go.
Salud.
Salud. Thanks so much for joining us on this local edition of The Bouncing Act. We'll see you next time.